Salam. So I thought I'd come on here and tell you a little bit about my revert journey, inshallah. So one thing to note is that I was born and raised Christian. I was a Methodist Christian, and that's all I knew growing up, right? So that's the context in which I grew up in. But ever since I was a child, I was very interested in religious studies. So I studied a lot of what the Christians call Old Testament and what the Jews call the Torah. And I studied a lot of the religious and historical texts of the New Testament. So I knew the origin stories. I knew the background behind how the gospel started and the disciples and all of that. I knew it all. But I think by nature, I'm a very curious person. So what happened was in 2023, I think as you grow older, you're faced with existential questions. One of which was, why are certain things not answered in the religion that I follow? So I ended up doing a lot of research. For instance, Jesus, his mother Mary. There's nothing in the Bible truly about her and about her life, or recollections of Jesus's childhood, or anything that she might have written. And I always wondered why that was the case. So I did a lot of research, and I started asking myself, why is the majority of the New Testament written by someone who never met Jesus? Paul. He started the early Christian church. And I just also want to put a disclaimer here. It's not my job to change people's minds about their religion. That's not what I'm doing. And I think a lot of the horrible comments and horrible treatment that I got was from Christians saying, oh, I'm going to go to hell. That is your opinion. I never asked anyone to change their faith. I'm telling people why I changed mine and why it made sense for me. So just put in a clarification there. Anyway, I started doing research, and that's how I stumbled on the Quran, because the Quran has a whole surah chapter about Maryam alayhi salam, Mary, mother of Jesus, and Jesus' birth and childhood, and we don't know a lot about that, or there's not a lot of information about what Mary was like before Jesus came in the picture. And it took me about 2 surahs reading the Quran for me to realize, oh wow, this is the word of God. And again, take into account, I've read the Torah, the entire Torah. I've read the New Testament. I know it like the back of my hand. I grew up with it, grew up in church, did all the research, have all of the knowledge, read the texts. So when I read the Quran, I was astonished. I've never read anything like that. There's an immense power, and the linguistics alone made me realize, okay, something is different about this religion, about this text. And I did all of this in secret. I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell my family, because it felt like I was betraying my faith. I was betraying Christianity, and I felt so ashamed. But the more I read about Islam, the more debates I watched. Debates of well-renowned priests versus Islamic scholars, and there are certain things that they couldn't answer. And what was always important to me was I need to not have blind faith. I need to know why I believe what I believe, because I don't think we can truly worship God if we don't understand our own beliefs. So I did research, and the truth was coming to me more and more, that this is what I need to, this is the faith I need to follow. And I I started taking a look at my life, and that's another backstory. I had a very difficult first part of my life, and a lot of the things that happened, a lot of people that left my life, a lot of tragedies that happened suddenly made sense when I looked at it from the Muslim perspective. But I was still in denial, and I said to myself, this can't be. I'm Christian, and I can't betray my faith. I put it to bed for months. And then this is where the spiritual element of my conversion comes, where I stopped doing research on Islam, and I put it to bed. And I actually started becoming part of a different church, and I was going out and meeting people, other Christian sisters and brothers. And I didn't think about Islam again. And then for a week, all of a sudden, late last year, it was before a surgery that I had to go through, before a big trial in my life, I started waking up at 3-4 a.m., which now that I'm Muslim, I'm realizing that was tahajjud time, and tahajjud is a prayer we make before the morning prayer. It's a prayer where, you know, you can ask for things, you can speak to Allah, you can speak to God. It's a very sacred time of the morning. I would wake up with chills all over my body, and I didn't understand why. And I was always very spiritually in tune with God. I always believed that God spoke to me in my dreams, which happened a lot during my childhood. So I said, this is it, God. Show me what you want to show me, because me waking up at 4 a.m. is terrible. So show me, just tell me what you want to show me. And then the next evening I dreamt of it. It looked like the end times. And in the dream, my father came to me, and he ran to me, and he held my mom's hand, and he held my hand in the dream, and he gave me a Quran, subhanAllah. He gave me a Quran, and he said to me, you need to believe in this. Believe in this book, you need to believe in it. And I woke up with chills all over my body, and I was like, what just happened? Never seen Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, in a dream. I've never seen the Bible in a dream. And this is the first extremely vivid dream that I got, and I woke up and I was so frightened and so confused. I did not understand why I was seeing this dream, because I was like, I'm Christian, why am I getting this dream? And I put it to bed, but I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake the feeling of the dream. And then the night after, I dreamt I was in hijab, and I woke up and I was like, what is this about? And I prayed, and I said, God, if this is what you want for me, make it easy for me, because I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I don't have Muslim family. I'm going to get judged. They're going to be angry at me. I'm probably going to lose some friends. And I was right, but that's a video for another time. And Allah answered my du'as, my prayers, and I think 3 weeks after praying that, I met a wonderful Muslim revert TikToker, Jess, who she arranged this beautiful shahada for me, a testimony of faith, and I took my shahada after doing research for almost 2 years. And I remember being at the mosque, and I cried so much, and there were over 100 women that came and watched me take my shahada, my declaration of faith, and they hugged me and they prayed for me, and just Allah made the journey so easy for me to become a revert. Not to say there weren't any difficulties or trials, it was very difficult after, but there was no doubt left in my mind that that was Allah, that was God, that opened up the door. And the moment I made that prayer, that dua, and I said, Allah, make it easy for me if this is what you want for me, and everything fell into place within a few weeks. And the woman who didn't know me from a bar of soap is now one of my closest friends, subhanAllah. If you want a bit more depth to my story, or about my history, or about my entire story, you can comment and let me know. But that's my story in a nutshell.
My beloved brothers and sisters, when giving da'wah to Christians, one of the best ways to begin with the similarities between Islam and Christianity. Both faiths teach belief in one God, love, compassion, and righteousness. In the Quran, Allah tells us to speak to the people of the book, meaning Jews and Christians, in a kind and respectful way. Say, O people of the book, come to a word that is equitable between us and you, that we will not worship except Allah. Starting with what we share builds respect and opens hearts for deeper understanding. You can remind them that Maryam, is highly honored in Islam, even more than in many Christian traditions. She has an entire chapter named after her in the Quran, Surah Maryam, and is described as pure, chosen, and devoted to Allah. Muslims deeply respect her and recognize her great status. This often surprises Christians, and it helps them see that Islam holds the same figures they revere in high regard. It is also important to talk about Prophet Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, who is greatly respected in Islam. We believe he was born miraculously to Mary without a father, by the command of Allah. He performed miracles by Allah's permission, healing the sick and giving life to the dead. Muslims love Jesus as one of the greatest prophets, but we worship only Allah who sent him. When Christians realize how Islam honors Jesus and Mary, they often feel more connected and curious about the message of Islam. When giving da'wah, always speak with kindness, wisdom, and humility. Don't argue. Instead, share the truth with love and respect. Let them see your good manners and sincerity. Many Christians have never heard how Islam truly views Jesus and Mary, and hearing it from a gentle heart can touch their souls. You never know whose heart Allah will open through your words. So give da'wah with love and leave the rest to Him.